Hey YouTube, it is me again with another video. Today we're going to be looking at a new handgun mock that I've made. And can any of you guess what this is? If you guessed the FN Herstal FNX-45, you are correct. Now then, if your other guess was the Tac-45 from Black Ops 2, you are also correct. They're both the same gun. Black Ops 2 just gave it a different name. So we're going to be looking at this. So this kind of shies away from the Black Ops 2 version in terms of attachments, but in the general sense it is the Black Ops 2 version. So we're going to go ahead and dive straight into this model, and we're going to start from the back and work our way to the front. So starting with the pistol grip, as you can see we have a nice slanted pistol grip. It's one of the ones that uses these two pins here. And then the bars kind of come down and they link up in here inside the handguard, and that's really nice because it gives you enough room to actually put a magazine up in here without sacrificing space or ergonomics. So that's very nice. You also have the little lip that kind of comes down here where your magazine is, kind of like right in here, but your magazine kind of still is there. So you see what I mean. And then you see how it curves in and then comes back out this way. So we did our best with that as well. Kind of scroll up here. As you can see, it kind of curves out down at the bottom and then curves back in up at the top. And that's a very nice curve. Kind of hard to do with Legos. It's just in general, curves are hard to do with Legos because they're blocks. Same thing with Minecraft. It's hard to get perfect circles because of cubes. Luckily, there's a circle chart for that though. Moving on, as you can see on this side, there's a little gray square here for no reason, and a lot of you might be wondering what that is. That's the other side to the magazine release right here. It looks more like two studs in this image instead of one, so I went ahead with two. And then on the other side, there's a button, kind of like a circle. And so that's what I did here. I got the two stud square here, and then I got the circle mag release here. So basically this is the button that you push on, but the actual thing holding the magazine is this piece right here. So when you push on the button over on this side, it pushes this piece out and it releases your magazine. As you can see, I don't have a magazine on this weapon. It's because it's kind of hard to put a magazine up in a weapon that's shaped like this. So unfortunately I can't do that. Just to let you guys know. Moving on, as you can see, we have a nicely curved trigger guard. I tried to follow as much of the actual Tac-45 as I can. It kind of curves upwards, curves in, and then just kind of goes straight up. And I tried to do that as best as I can, where it kind of curves down, up, and then straight up. And it's got the working trigger. It's a fully working system as well. This tube right here blocks the trigger from going too far forward with the rubber band, and the rubber band itself connects to this little ball right here. And you wrap it around the kind of like the base of the trigger, and not above the trigger, or not above the pivot point here, but below the pivot point. It works this way. If you put the rubber band below the pivot point, then it has to be stretched forward. If you put it above the pivot point, then it has to be stretched backwards, and I didn't have enough room to go backwards, so I just went forward with it. So that's why the little ball piece for the rubber band is up here instead of back here. Now then, what's really interesting about this model is that most of it is ambidextrous, and to incorporate the ambidextrous fire selector, which is only semi-auto and safety, full auto would be too cool. Come on, guys. So as you can see, you got your fire selector here and your fire selector here. Now to make this ambidextrous, I really didn't know how, so I came up with this thing where I use one of these pieces, but in the center of both of them I added a pin, and basically what happens is this little piece here loses the kind of the smooth dragless glide that it gets, and it gets friction within it, so that with this rod in the middle of it, when you turn one side, the other side will turn as well. And I don't know if it works. In theory it does, but I don't know if it really does work in real life. I don't really have the pieces to make this, unfortunately. So, oh shit, what the, wow. Okay, so if you guys saw that, that just kind of hit me, and that's, oh gosh. Yeah, it was scary. Sorry about that interruption. I'm just gonna go turn on the ceiling fan and hope that it goes away. Okay, so I hope that it goes away. If I'm still gonna pull my hood on of my hood to make sure it doesn't like land on my face. Sorry about that interruption, guys. Moving along, here in the back we have our working hammer. Shit, just kind of attacked me. So you have this hammer here, and it's working off of a hinge piece, and it folds up into the striker that you see kind of sticking out the back here. This little circle stud looking thing. I wish it was gray, but when I pull the slide back to show you guys that the slide moves, it has to be black because of the method I do it. So it kind of folds up into the striker. So as you can see, it's a fully working hammer, and when you pull the slide back, it pushes the hammer down. So that's one of the really cool features that we've worked out. Here we have the back iron sight. It just kind of notches in, and then the front iron sight itself is just a post. There's that bug again trying to get at my face. So the front sight is just a post like you see here, but none of that matters because we have a micro red dot sight on it right now. And these things were kind of hard to make, especially this one. But yeah, it looks pretty good, held on by these two screws. And right below the screws we have these grill type pieces made out of Lego. And what these pieces do is provide extra grip for the shooters when he cocks the slide back. So we got that in there as well. Moving along, we're going to start with the frame of the model. So the last thing to show off on the frame of the model itself is the piece right here. This is your slide lock. Now then, the way it works, crap, I just realized something. If you guys give me 1 second. Gotta delete that, that, and then this, and oop. And this, and this. So what happens is, how the slide lock works is that you pull your slide back, and I wouldn't have to adjust the hammer manually when I did this. I just had to pull the slide back. So you pull the slide back. I'm going to select the color chooser. You pull the slide back to its locked position right about here, so 5 studs back on the model, and then you push up on this and it locks into place like so. It's just using a hinge piece like the actual model basically, and now that it's locked in place, you can see the shell ejection port. Shell ejection port's right above your trigger assembly. Basically, you can see your trigger assembly actually, the pivot point and then the blocking bar, and then you got right in here this rubber band piece here, and then you can't really see it, but there's the other rubber band piece down kind of in this area of the model, and both of those go together so that the slide is actually snapping forward. So just so you guys can see, I'm going to do this, and you can kind of see the slide kick back, and it moves 5 studs back, and I like it moving 5 studs back because it's pretty much just the right amount of space but not too much. And what's neat is you have your chamber right here exposed open. The other thing that I noticed about this model is that it's more, the shell ejection port is more open on this side than what it is on this side. It is open up here just a little, but it's more open on this side. And that's one of the things that you can see here. You got this nice large gap right here. The other thing that I wanted to point out now is that the what's this thing called? Slide lock is back here, kind of in front of the safety. Obviously I can't do that if the thing back here is holding the handguard. So that's one thing that I can't do. So just I wanted to point that out. So I kind of put it right about here above the trigger instead. It works out better, to be completely honest. Moving along, we have our standard slide. It's just like the other one. I pretty much pointed out all the features already. And then coming up into the front, we have a compensator. Now then, basically what a compensator does is it minimizes the recoil that you feel coming off of the weapon. It's a good thing to pretty much make sure you don't die. I don't mean that the way it sounds. A lot of people can shoot 45 just fine, but the follow-up shot is kind of hard to get because you kick so hard. So to reduce that, we have this compensator, and it basically takes the gases coming out of the end of the barrel and routes them in a different direction to minimize that recoil. And all it does is slide right over the rail system, and then you kind of get a working compensator. But yeah, this one has been specifically engineered theoretically with the barrel so that you get a barrel extension, but the gas ports still work. So this is kind of a longer barrel than the actual model, and it does have the compensator with an extended rail system on bottom, considering this one has slid over the one that you were going to originally use for the model. So you still have a nice large rail system here for any tactical lights that you might have, laser system or anything like that. But yeah, this is all in all probably one of the best handguns that I've made because it's probably one of the most accurate. Granted, the slide lock is not in the place that it's supposed to be, but pretty much other than that, it's one of the most accurate guns that I've ever made. Ambidextrous fire selector, a working hammer, working trigger. The mag release doesn't work, but it aesthetically it is there. You got the functioning magazine dropping. You have the functioning slide and the sights, the compensator. The barrel stays in one place. It's again probably one of the best handguns that I've ever made. So that's pretty much it for this video. Excuse me. If you guys want to see more of this gun, don't be afraid to check it out on my website. Hopefully I'll get that updated soon where this is on there. And so is the Ripper. And I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Remember to comment, rate, and subscribe for more videos like this one. See ya.